Hello and welcome back to Investment Vitals. Last month, I had made a video that based on the rising valuation of some of FTX's investments in venture firms like that in Anthropic, we can expect to get most, if not all, of our money back. The link to the video is appearing right at top of the screen right now for those who want to follow that video. With the publication of the new proposed plan by FTX, there is greater amount of clarity on the treatment that is proposed for these kind of investments, and hence I'll be covering this in details in today's video. I hope you find the video useful. If you do, then please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel with the notification bell turned on. Also, if you have any comments, queries, suggestions or feedback, do mention in the comment section and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Before I proceed, I have to tell you that I'm neither a financial nor a legal advisor. So nothing contained in this video is financial or legal advice. With that out of the way, now let me move into details of the discussion to carry forward from where I left in the last month. Now, as I spoken in the last month, FTX had made some very valuable investments like those in Anthropic, also some others like StockTwits, Genesis, so on and so forth, which could be of great value today. At the time of filing of bankruptcy, FTX had made a total investment in 438 entities amounting to around $4.5 billion US. Out of all of these, majority, which is 65% of the investments, were made as equity investments in some of these firms that are listed in this screen. The full details of investments is in the current screen. I can see this is really large number of investments that FTX had made. What has been of importance for us that I discussed in the earlier videos was an investment made in a firm called Anthropic. Now, for those who do not know, Anthropic is an AI firm and it is a competitor to ChatGPT. Given the rising interest in AI, there has been a significant increase in the valuation that firms like Anthropic have been commanding. Recently, Anthropic had received investment of around $4 billion US from Amazon and $2 billion US from Google. With this investment of around $6 billion from these two entities, Anthropic is now valued at around $20 billion. This is important considering the fact this rise of value has been in recent past. Anthropic had a valuation of around $4 billion in March. In a span of around 7 to 8 months, its valuation has increased between 5 to 7 times to around $20 to $30 billion. Now, what this implies for people like you and me is that current valuation of FTX, because of this increasing value, has gone up to around $3 to $4.5 billion. So, if at current value, FTX can expect to realize between $3 to $4.5 billion by selling its stake in Anthropic. Now, to put this in context, we know that the shortfall in customers' claim is to the tune of approximately $9 billion. I'll put that on screen for context. On your screen right now is the summary from the proposed plan that FTX had filed. It says very clearly that FTX.com has a net shortfall of claim of approximately $8.9 billion and FTX US had a shortfall of around $166 million, as is mentioned in point number 3 here. What this implies is that there is an approximate shortfall of $9 to $9.1 billion for customers of FTX. Therefore, the rising valuation of these entities is very important for all of us because it gives us greater amount of hope to get our money back. I'll move back to the news article that I was talking about some time back to explain it in greater details here. Just give me a second for that, please. Yes. Now, what we can see in this is that with the valuation rising to around $3 to $4.5 billion, we can expect FTX to recoup around half of the shortfall if it is successfully able to sell its shares in Anthropic at the valuation that is currently prevailing. Now, of course, this would be volatile. The valuation can go up and can also go down by the time this sales proceed happen. Also important for us is that apart from this, there are other investments that FTX had. List is on the screen right now, some of which might sell hopefully at a premium to what FTX had purchased it at. Therefore, it is important for us to now look at how would the sales happen for these investments of FTX in these venture firms. For that, I'll draw a reference back again to the proposed plan that FTX had made or has published. Which this particular section is covered under the section of venture investments. I'll read this out first and then I explain it in greater details. It says that either the wind down estate or a new limited liability company or other vehicle will hold debtors illiquid venture capital investments, private company and token investments that are not in the process of being sold at the time of effectiveness. Now, what this implies is that not all of the investments that FTX had can be sold immediately. It also implies that while there will be an attempt to sell some of these investments, some of this venture capital investment might get sold now and the rest might be sold over a period of time. Therefore, it also says that the purpose of FTX ventures will be to make cash distribution to the wind down estate on a time horizon to be determined based on the nature of these investments. What this implies is that eventually, before a claim is paid out, whatever investments is being liquidated, the money thereof can be distributed among the claimants, and the amount that is not the investments that are not sold off will be housed either in a new company and sold over a period of time, so that the money from that proceeds from that can be distributed among various creditors. I discussed in the previous video that we might be given that FTX is also in process of launching an second to relaunch that exchange, which has also been branded as FTX2, in which we might get an equity holding option. However, for this FTX Ventures, which will be housing FTX's investment, it is very clearly mentioned that FTX Ventures company will not issue shares to creditors directly, which implies that we will not be given an option of buying a share in the company which will hold FTX's investment. This is very clearly mentioned here. Now, with that, I'll again move back to the discussion that I'm having about FTX2 being relaunched. Now, for that, let me go back to the website that has been covering this in greater detail. As you know, in the video that I discussed some time back about getting our money back, in that I had spoken about the possibility or the attempt to restart the exchange. Now, this has been validated a little bit more with greater amount of news flow. As per the latest discussions, apparently there are 3 bidders to restart FTX2, which is FTX rebooted exchange. Now, this exchange would not be operating in US, and it will only therefore be available to people who are outside of US. With that, if the FTX exchange does start, we can either expect to get some of our money back directly also from this exchange starting, or also we might be given a choice of taking some stakes in this entity. As and when this decision comes across, we will be required to give a vote in terms of if we want higher amount of shares of the new entity or high amount of cash instead of getting those shares. Now, the choice will obviously depend on your circumstances and your decision to be made. However, whenever this option of election comes across, I'll keep you posted of how to vote, and also my personal preference in terms of voting, because most likely the recovery of depending on what your view is on that exchange, the possibility of you getting greater amount of money back in the longer horizon would probably be greater in case of getting some equity shares. However, that's your own personal decision depending on your circumstances. Now, as I said some time back, FTX2 has set a deadline FTX has set a deadline for some of the for bidders of the exchange 2, and apparently there are 3 bidders who are in play right now. Coinbase, I knew, was in discussion for bidding for FTX Europe operation, but it seems like that has now been shelved. However, with these developments, the valuation of FTX claim in the claims market has been increasing. You might remember that at the time of my last video last month, the valuation was in October was approximately being valued at around 40%. You can see in the screen right now that was between 38 at bid and between 38 and 43, which was around 40% was the valuation of your claim, which means for every $100 that you were claiming from FTX, you would have gotten back approximately $40. This has now, with the positive developments, it's now increased to more than 50%, which implies that the value of our investment is going up, and hence we can hope to get more money. What is more important is that this claim value was less than 10% only a couple of months back. In November of last year, the claims market was valuing FTX claim at around 10%, which was hardly anything. From a rise from 10 to 52% is very promising, and in fact we can see the slope has been greater in the recent months. As the court case progresses, I expect that the claim value in this market might increase further. For context purpose, I would also like to draw a reference to Celsius. Now, Celsius was also another bankrupt entity whose claim is now trading at approximately 40%. Yeah, slightly less than 40%. Now, given the fact that if Celsius investors or customers are expected to get around 70% of their money back, the market giving a valuation of around 40%, less than 40%, for Celsius, but more than 50% to FTX does give us a hope that we might actually end up getting a very major portion of our money back, if not all of it back. I hope you find this video useful. I will be covering in greater details as and when things proceed in this particular case. I'll keep you posted, especially when the time is there for you to cast your vote in terms of your election or getting your claim either more in money or more in stocks. If you find this video useful, do like the video and share it with your friends and family. Hit the subscription button and do hit the notification bell. Please do write in your comments in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see you soon shortly in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. See you. Bye bye.